Perfect. Everything is in place to make sure we have a very nice second last day of the fast track course. Guys, what are we up to today? Besides a lot of other things, good afternoon Sunil, and good afternoon everyone else who's here. Watching it live, watching it recorded, doesn't matter. Let's do this really well. Guys, what's today's agenda? Today's agenda is a chapter which will get you definite 7 to 8 marks in the exam. So that chapter is called TDS, also TCS, also Advanced Tax. Best part, there is no format. There is a section. You have to write the section. There's a percentage. You have to know the percentage. I'll give you some amazing shortcuts to remember every section in this chapter. Then we have a cute little chapter which is called Return of Income. That is also something that we'll do today. And there is a chapter which is actually not a new chapter. It's just an amalgamation of everything that we know, which is called Computation of Income. This is today's agenda. So then what do we do tomorrow? Are we taking a break? No, we aren't. Tomorrow is the day for all the amendments. So we are going to look at the amendments tomorrow. And then we're looking at sums tomorrow as well. So that's the agenda for tomorrow. And this is something that I want to do between today and tomorrow. Alright, so anything else also if you want me to cover, we could also look at some MCQs from the MCQ booklet of ICAI. So that will help strengthen your concepts on MCQs and get rid of that irrational fear that we have of MCQs. Good afternoon, Renat. Welcome to class. Everyone else, we should start in just a minute. Perfect. Everything is in place. Just checking if everything is okay before we start. Perfect. Alright, so guys, in today's session, while we are looking at TDS, I want to set the stage up for TDS chapter with one very simple TDS chapter. First up, where does TDS and where does TCS and where does Advanced Tax come in the paper? Advanced Tax yet hasn't come in the paper, so there is a very high chance that it might come really soon. TCS, they've started introducing very directly as well as indirectly in the paper these days. And TDS is of course the hero of the story. Guys, every year without fail, there is 7 to 8 marks of TDS that is asked every single year. In your year as well, November, yes. May again, yes. Every year, yes. So let's see how TDS and TCS works. First, we will do the chapter called TDS. And then we will do any other chapter. I'll just give you one example and from that, I'll set the stage up for TDS. Guys, here is a pair called Kaun Banega Crorepati. So KBC is in the middle here, and KBC right now is on. My mom's a big fan of KBC, and this one is a player or a participant in KBC. We'll not name him P, but we'll name him Mr. A. This one is a participant in KBC, and he won, let's say, 10 lakh rupees in KBC. So this is him winning 10 lakh rupees in KBC. Of course, that's his income. It will go in IFOS, that will go in his income, that 10 lakh rupees, and he will have to pay tax on it. But today this is the month of August, and he will land up paying tax next year. So the government doesn't want to wait for so long. So they tell the payer, that is KBC, that listen KBC, while you are paying him, why don't you do one thing? Why don't you deduct some amount and pay to us and call this tax deducted at source? Of course, the payer has to agree because it's the government's instruction, so they will deduct TDS. And this case, the TDS is 30%. Does it remain 30? Always no, it changes from section to section and from income to income. But on casual income that you earn, this is 30%. Now, so 3 lakhs will go to the government, yes, and 7 lakhs will come to you, yes. But still, guys, in your IFOS income, you will always take the gross amount, that is 10 lakhs. Isn't that wrong? Because then 10 lakhs will go to my GTI, and then 10 lakhs will go to my TI, and then on 10 lakhs I will end up paying the tax. No, it is not wrong, because whatever tax you land up paying, you can always take a credit of this 3 lakhs. So hence there is no issue with this. Guys, this TDS which is with the government, that is 3 lakh rupees, you can always and always take a credit. So just removing all this extra information here. So please remember, in the exam, something that is always given is the net amount. they will say you won 10 lakh rupees, but they will not say it directly. They will say you won 7 lakh rupees net amount from a game show. So you need to do always the gross amount. Yes, you should always take the gross amount as the income. In our example, the gross amount is 10 lakh. How do you figure this? If 30% is the TDS rate, then 100 is the original, then you got 70, and if 70 is 10 lakh, what is the 7 lakh, what is the total? That is 10 lakh, cross multiply, so you always get the gross amount. Now when do they have to deduct it? Do they have to deduct it today? Yes guys, this one has to be deducted on payment basis. So whenever KBC pays this amount, let's say if they pay it today they have to deduct it. So it's on payment basis. Yes, it's on payment basis. And when do they have to pay it to the government? They don't have to pay it immediately. They have to pay it by the next month, 7th of the next month. So every month's TDS gets collected, yes, and it gets paid. So guys, it's almost the same that we do for our expenses. We don't pay salary every day. We don't pay electricity expenses every day. We collect the total and we pay it next month by the 7th. So same thing we will do. TDS also we have to pay by the next month, 7th of the next month. I'm going to be writing like this, 7th of the next month. Just one second. Saurabh. So this is 7th of the next month. But in case guys, if it's the month of March, then you don't have to pay by the 7th, you have to pay by the 30th of the next month. So for the last month of March, thank you, you get some additional time, you have to pay by the 30th of the next month. Alright, what if you don't pay? What if you don't deduct? Are there penalties? Yes, penalties we'll see at CA final, but there is interest which we will see in this chapter in the end if you don't deduct or if you don't pay. Next, anything else that you need to know? Guys, that's about it. The government has to know whose money it is, guys. Just like you write a roll number on your CA exam, the government should know whose money is this 3 lakh. So do we have to give a PAN number to them? Yes, we have to give a PAN number. What if we don't give a PAN number? It's almost like what if you don't write your roll number in the exam, and is that a big problem? Yes, generally guys, that's a punishment if you don't give your PAN number. The punishment is basically a higher rate. Here the rate is 30%. Yes, here the TDS rate is 30%. Of course, it cannot be higher than 30. What is 30 is anyways a huge amount. And here this section that we just discussed is a section called 194B, that is betting or gambling or crossword puzzles or game shows, etc. So that is 194B. But here TDS will be deducted only if you earn more than 10,000 rupees from these sources. So guys, what if you went to KBC and won only 2,000 rupees? Obviously your family will be very disappointed with you. But if you won only 2,000 rupees, then there will be no TDS. No, there will be no TDS. But that means it's not taxable. No, you will still have to pay the tax, but it will come to you and you will have to pay the tax on your own. There will be no TDS. So in this case, TDS is only when it's more than 10,000. Guys, this is an example of 194B. Now, what if instead of giving you 1 crore or 10 lakh of money, they give you a 10 lakh rupee car? Then in that case, will TDS apply? Yes. So will they deduct like 2 tires and give it to the government? No. In that case, if you won the car, then you have to pay the person who's giving you the car 3 lakh rupees and they will have to pay the government. So the payer, that is KBC, has to ensure that even in case of gifts of kind, the government gets 30%. See how smart the government is, guys. Doesn't matter what you are doing, they want the money. So that is how smartly the government plays. Just one second. Perfect. So this is section 194B. Just like section 194B is another section where everything else remains the same. Only the nature of payment is basically horse betting income. So you went to the race course and you bet on horses, and that is section 194BB. Bigger bet is what I remember it as a shortcut. So 194B is betting and 194BB is betting. The TDS rate here also is 30%. Everything else remains the same here also. So guys, let's do a quick recap on this chapter start. TDS is a very important chapter. Always in the middle is the person who's paying you the money. The moment you draw right diagram, your answer will be right more or less in the exam. In the middle is a payer. If he is paying for betting or bigger betting, example casual income or betting on horses, then if the amount is more than 10,000 rupees, he will deduct TDS at the rate of 30% paid to the government with the PAN number. Yes. Can the person whose whose income it is show the gross amount? Yes, has to show the gross amount. This is on payment basis, yes, and the section is 194B and 194BB. That is the first inaugural section of TDS chapter. Next guys, the entire TDS chapter works on the example of a restaurant. So you are starting a restaurant, and of course when you're starting a restaurant in a new city, especially in a city like Mumbai, which is so expensive, you cannot expect to immediately take a place and buy a place. So what do you do initially? What you do initially is basically take a place on rent. So in the initial stages, it is very difficult to buy. So initially you rent, and that is a section 194I. I is for initially. Initially, what do you do? Initially, you rent. So here we go on the screen. This is you. This is a cafe. The entire TDS works on this example of this cafe, and they are taking on rent a land and building. So will they be paying the owner rent? Yes, they are taking on rent some furniture, and they are also taking on rent some plant and machinery like kitchen equipment, etc. So these are three things which they are taking on rent. Obviously they'll pay rent to these people. Every month they'll be paying rent, and here the government will wait for these people, the landowners, these owners, to pay their taxes at the end of the year, and the government doesn't want to wait so much. So they tell this cafe guy that, listen, whenever you pay the rent, can you do one thing? You are a businessman, you are very smart, just do one thing, deduct TDS and pay to us, so we don't have to wait for so long. Yes, deducted at the rate of 10%. So TDS rate is 10% here, but they feel that if you're giving for plant and machinery rent, if you're paying rent for plant and machinery, then in that case, we don't want to tax too much, so the rate is only 2%. In case of plant and machinery, yes, this is encouragement for people who use plant and machinery. But what if I'm paying rent of 5,000 rupees or 10,000 or 50,000? Is there a limit? Yes, there is a limit of 2 lakh only if the rent is more than 2,40,000 in a year. Yes, in a year. So what if you've taken it on rent? What if you've taken a land and building on rent for 50,000 a month? 50,000 into 12 is 6 lakhs, so you'll have to pay, yes. But what if you take it for the last 3 months only, in Jan, Feb, March? Then it's only 1,50,000, so you don't have to. So TDS will be deducted only if it's more than 2,40,000, yes. And this limit has to be seen aggregate. Yes, it has to be seen aggregate. What do I mean by aggregate? Guys, what if I'm paying 2 lakh rupees for land and 2 lakh rupees for furniture, both which are under the limit of 2,40,000. But both these two amounts are given to one person only. Then in that case, guys, it is aggregate per person. So if both 2 lakh and 2 lakh are given to the same person, then do you have to aggregate it? Yes, aggregate per person is 4 lakh. Then in that case, will TDS apply? Yes, TDS will apply. 10%, yes. And what if this was 2 lakh and 2 lakh here? Again to the same person, yes. On that 4 lakh, will TDS apply? Yes. But on this 2 lakh at the rate of 10%, and on this 2 lakh at the rate of 2%, because on plant and machinery, TDS rate is 2%. So this is aggregate per person more than 2,40,000. The TDS rate you already know. Guys, this is on payment basis or credit basis, whichever is earlier. So I'm going to write P or C, whichever is earlier. This is a shortcut. What is payment or credit, whichever is earlier? Guys, either let's say you're paying them today. Today is the 18th of August. Either you're paying them today, or so let's assume you paid them today, 18th August. But the journal entry in your books has been passed on 31st July only. So the credit in your books of accounts, you have credited that person's books in your books of accounts, that person's amount has been credited on 31st July, but you're making a payment today, then which is the relevant date? Whichever is earlier, that is 31st July. And guys, does the government have to know whose money is this or who TDS is this? Yes. So the government needs a PAN number. If the landowners fail to give the PAN number, then the punishment, the TDS rate will be 20%. Guys, this section is called 206 AA. If you want to always remain anonymous, that's a shortcut, 206 AA, always anonymous. That means if you don't give your PAN number, obviously we don't know who you are. So are you anonymous? Yes. So if you're always going to be anonymous, then in that case, 20% will be applicable, not 10, not 2, straight 20%. But guys, don't you think a lot of students, a lot of other people also take houses on rent? Let's say you all have 5 students who come to Bombay and you all have taken a house on rent, and your rent is basically more than 2,40,000. Then in that case, are you all also supposed to deduct TDS, pay to the government? But you all are students. Then in that case, remember students example, in that case guys, the government has made an exception they say if you're a small individual or a small HUF. What is this small individual, small HUF? I'll tell you. But they say if you're a small individual or a small HUF, then this section does not apply to you. So please pay your rent without deducting any TDS. Now, what is a small individual, small HUF? Guys, you're small, not in terms of size, but in terms of turnover. That is this year, that is 21-22. If you want to see whether you're a small individual, small HUF, then you have to go to the previous year, that is 2021, and check your turnover. If your turnover as a businessman is up to 1 crore, then you're small, yes. And if your turnover as a professional is up to 50 lakh, then you're small, yes. But what if I don't have business only? What if last year I was a salaried person, or what if I had only house property? Then you are anyway small. So small means salaried person, small means pension person, small means house property person, small means capital gain person, small means any of those. But if you're in business, you're small if your turnover is up to 1 crore or 50 lakhs. That's a shortcut, yes. And quickly recapping this section, everyone watch out, watch out, watch out. TDS section 194I, this is basically initially what do? You rent. You're renting land and building, plant and machinery, furniture, and you're paying rent of more than 2,40,000 aggregate per person. What does it mean? If you're paying the same person 2-3 rents, you have to aggregate it. If it's more than 2,40,000 per person, then TDS will apply at the rate of 10%, plant and machinery 2%. It's on payment of credit, whichever is earlier, because the government is in a hurry. So whichever is the earlier date will be the relevant date, and TDS is at the rate of 20% as a punishment if you don't disclose your PAN number. Small individual, small HUF, rejoice, be happy, because you don't have to be subject to this TDS provision. Alright. This is initially you rent. Your cafe started, guys. You are renting at the place of the cafe. Life is good, and suddenly something is on the screen, which is happening now. Guys, the next section is you love the premises of the cafe. So instead of renting it, you decide to purchase it. So your immovable property you are acquiring, that is section 194IA, immovable property you are acquiring. You tell the owner of that land and building, this is only for land and building. Yes, this is only for land and building, not for plant and machinery, not for furniture. You go to the owner of land and building and you tell him, listen, I want to purchase it. How much is it for? He says, I'll give it to you for 75 lakhs only. You say, great. So you decide to buy it. Yes, you decide to buy it. And when you are going to pay him 75 lakh, he might be subject to capital gain, which we saw yesterday only, guys. So for this owner, will we have to do 80 SCP? Yes. And will we pay taxes to the government? Yes. But the government doesn't want to wait. So they tell this cafe owner that, listen, while you are paying him 75 lakhs, I want to know who is this person who's making this capital gain. So can you do one favor? Can you, just 1 second. Yes. So can you do one favor? Can you deduct some TDS and pay? But a very small amount, only 1%. Why 1%? Because my intention is not to make money. My intention is basically to only know who is this guy who's getting capital gain or who's going to get capital gain. So this is basically purchase of immovable property. Yes, this is purchase of immovable property. But this section will apply only if the amount that you're paying is more than 50 lakhs. If that is a sale consideration, not the amount that you're paying, but the sale consideration is more than 50 lakh. Guys, in the exam, they had given once that the sale consideration was 55 lakh, the stamp duty value was 45 lakh. Will this section apply? Yes, because you have to look at the sale consideration, that is 55 lakh. If the sale consideration is more than 50 lakh, then this section will apply. The TDS rate here is only and only 1%, yes. And this one applies to everyone, yes. So tomorrow, guys, the 5 students, when they decide to purchase a house more than 50 lakh, will they also have to deduct TDS? Yes. So it applies to everyone. Yes, it applies to everyone. But there's a problem, because it applies to everyone. What if there are some people who are very small, who have no idea how to deposit the money, etc. They have only 7 days to pay to the government in the next month. So hence the government says, for this case, because it applies to everyone, we'll make it a slightly more period of time to deposit the money. So if this transaction happens in August, you don't have to pay by 7 September. You can pay 30 days after this month ends. So you can basically pay 30 days into the next month. But why is the extra time period? Because the section applies to everyone. This is section 194I. Guys, this section will not apply, of course, if the purchase of property is up to 50 lakh. If the property is a rural agriculture land, you know guys, rural agriculture land, there is no capital gain. And if there is no capital gain, the government doesn't want that 1%. And last, if this purchase is compulsory acquisition, then 194IA does not apply. Perfect. Guys, just quickly recapping 194IA, immovable property acquire. You're acquiring an immovable property more than 50 lakh rupees. This 50 lakh rupees includes vehicle charges, parking charges, clubhouse charges, all of that you have to see together. Yes, all of that. If it's more than 50 lakh rupees, you have to deduct TDS at the rate of 1%. Remember guys, this 50 lakh rupees is the sale consideration, not the stamp duty value. TDS is only 1%. Yes, it applies to everyone. Yes, it is on purchase or credit, whichever is earlier. Yes, it is on purchase. Guys, this remains the same. Purchase or credit, whichever is earlier. In most cases, it remains the same. And if they don't give the PAN number, then 20% will be deducted as TDS. That is something that you have to keep in mind. Perfect, 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 perfect. That is 194IA, 194I done, 194B done, and 194BB done. Moving to the next one. Vagish, hello sir, I listened to the recorded classes of GST and the shortcut used by you, extraordinary, and it helped a lot. Thank you sir. Vagish, I'm so happy that you're using my shortcuts, and I don't know if you've cleared your exams or not, but all the best for your exams, and I have similar and even better shortcuts waiting for you all at CA final as well. So yes, thank you for that compliment, and all the best, and see you soon. All right. Perfect. No, so you're writing in November. Okay, great. So DT also has great shortcuts, and Vagish, if you want to reach out for any queries, this is where you should reach out. WhatsApp, the voice note, any doubts that you have till November, anything that you need help on, I'm right there to help you. Perfect. Guys, moving now ahead to the next section. The next section, 194I done, 194IA done. Guys, this cafe requires a lot of cash, change. Every time someone comes to the cafe and they give a 2000 rupee note, they have to give change. So what they do is every day from the bank, every day they go to the bank and they withdraw cash. This is the cafe and they withdraw cash. The bank is the payer and the bank is paying them cash. Here is the government, and the government doesn't like people using cash. So the government tells this bank that, listen banker, who is this guy removing so much cash? So we don't like cash. You know guys, the government doesn't like cash. So the government tells the banker, who is this person who is removing so much money? And I want to know. So what you do is you deduct TDS at the rate of 2% only if the cash removed is more than 1 crore. That means generally guys, the TDS was on the entire amount. If you are paying rent of more than 2,40,000, will it be on the excess? No guys, generally TDS is on the entire amount. But only in this case where you are removing notes, the section is 194N, N is notes, it is only on the excess amount. So if in 1 year the cafe withdrew 1 crore rupees, no TDS. But after 1 crore in that year, if they withdraw even 5 lakh rupees more, on the excess 5 lakh, there will be TDS at the rate of 2%. So first is excess about which month? 1 crore per annum. TDS rate is 2%. Yes, TDS rate is 2%. Guys, this cannot be on credit basis. This has to be on payment basis. So whenever the bank pays on payment basis, they will deduct it. And obviously the bank already has your PAN number. So the PAN condition is not there. When they open the bank account, they already have a PAN number. If there is no PAN number, again 20% should be the case, but they already have a PAN number in this case. Yes, guys, in the year 2020, they came up with an amendment to this section. They said this is great, but they wanted to punish people who were not filing their returns and withdrawing cash. So they said that if you've not filed your returns in the last 3 years, 3 last years, and in all the 3 last years, you've not filed your return of income. Why will you not file a return of income? Because you are saying I don't have too much income, that's why I did not file my return of income. So if the last 3 years you have not filed your return of income and you're withdrawing so much money, then we want to punish you with some different limits. In that case, if you withdraw more than 20 lakhs, then the rate is 2%. Of course, more than 20 lakhs up to 1 crore. And if you withdraw more than 1 crore, then the rate increases to 5%. Guys, is this some extra percentage? Yes. So it's almost like you going to the ATM, withdrawing 100 rupees and only 95 comes out of the ATM, guys. The 5 is TDS, yes. So you'll feel bad, yes. Of course, it's your money, you can take the credit, but the credit you will take at the end of the year. So your money is blocked for the entire year. Guys, this is the concept. When you break the law, or when you don't file your returns for the last 3 years, all the last 3 years, yes, then more than 20 lakh 2%, up to 1 crore, and more than 1 crore 5%. Guys, this does not apply when the amount is withdrawn by white label ATMs. What are white label ATMs? White label ATMs are companies who own and operate ATMs. Example, Tatas or Birlas, etc., who don't have a bank, but they can start and operate an ATM. Yes, they are called white label ATMs. Or if it's withdrawn by banks, guys, banks can obviously withdraw. Or if it's withdrawn by government department, in these 3 cases, there is no section 194N. So let's do a quick and even more quick revision on 194N. N is for notes. In the exam, they will say that there is a bank who's paying, a cooperative bank or a post office who's paying an amount more than 1 crore rupees in 1 year to a cafe. Of course, guys, per bank, yes, per bank, because the banks don't talk about you. So if you withdraw 99 lakhs from HDFC Bank and then 99 lakhs from ICICI Bank, will they start deducting TDS? No, because they don't know that how much have you deducted. Just 1 second. Because they don't know how much you have deducted. So 194N is notes only on the excess amount above 1 crore 2%, and if you have not filed your return for the last 3 years, then about 20 lakh 2%, above 1 crore 5%. White label ATMs, governments and other banks, no problem, only on payment basis. So that is the case here, and please remember, this is the exception. Only in this case it is on the excess amount, otherwise it is on the entire amount. What do I mean by excess and entire? If you are paying rent of 5 lakh rupees to a cafe is paying a rent of 5 lakh rupees, on the entire 5 lakh every month which you pay, will you have to deduct TDS? Yes. But in this case, if you deduct more, if you withdraw more than 1 crore, then will you have to do on the entire 1 crore? No, only on the excess above 1 crore will you have to deduct TDS. This is section 194N, done and dusted. Going to the next one, guys. During COVID, everything went online. You, me, Unacademy, everyone went online, and the government realized that there are people now who are selling things online. So guys, this could be you, or this could be any person who is selling things online. Let's take your example. You started cooking and baking things and you started selling things on Zomato. So this is Zomato. Let's say you sell cakes on Zomato, and when you sold some cakes, Zomato got 1 lakh rupees for this whole month for your orders, and they are going to pay you that 1 lakh rupees. This is you, this is the seller, and here this is the person who's paying. So this is the guy who's paying you, Zomato. It could be Flipkart, it could be Amazon, it could be Uber, it could be Ola, it could be anyone who collects money and then pays it to you. Guys, whenever you pay to these guys, they pay to the sellers or pay to the Uber drivers, and for the seller, this is income. So you sold cakes on Zomato and you got some income. This is online, so the section is section 194O. The government here told this Zomato that, listen Zomato, this seller, by the time he will pay, the year will end. We don't want to wait so much, so why don't you do one thing? This is a new section, so we'll keep the TDS rate low, but can you deduct TDS at the rate of 1% and pay it to us? Zomato said, why not? I will deduct it. And whenever Zomato now pays to this seller, they deduct TDS at the rate of 1% and pay it to the government. So what is the TDS rate? Very low rate, guys, of 1%. Guys, this is on payment basis or credit basis, whichever is earlier. And here if you don't give the PAN, guys, generally if you don't give the PAN, the TDS rate is 20%, but in this case if you don't give the PAN, then the TDS rate is not 20%, just one second, then the TDS rate is only and only 5%. And here there is an exception. They said that a lot of individuals and HUFs are also selling on Zomato. Lots of individuals are also driving Ubers. So hence, if they get up to 5 lakhs from one e-commerce platform, then in that case, this TDS will not apply. That means let's say you drive an Ola, and Ola every month pays you 20,000 rupees. 20,000 into 12 is 2 lakh 40. So is it up to 5 lakh rupees? Yes, there will be no TDS in that case. This is section 194O. Quick recap on this section. 194O is online. Guys, online, the payer who's paying you, Zomato, of course, guys, the customer is paying to Zomato and Zomato is then paying you. So I'm looking at the second leg where Zomato is paying you. Whenever they pay you, they need to deduct TDS at the rate of 1%, payment or credit, whichever is earlier. The section is 194A. Guys, here because it's a new section, the rate is only 1%. Also, because it's only 1%, if you don't give your PAN, they will not make it 1 to 20%, they make it 1 to 5%. And individual HUF, don't worry, for you all up to 5 lakh rupees, this section will not apply. What about people who sell through Instagram? So, good question there, but Instagram doesn't collect money for you. So here the money is not collected. So if there is an e-commerce operator who collects money on your behalf and pays it to you, then in that case there will be TDS. Perfect. So that's 194O. We finished 194O. We finished 194N. IA, that is immovable property acquired, and I, that is immovable, impossible to buy, so you rent, or initially you rent. Alright, now moving to the next section, guys. The cafe had 192 employees. Yes, guys, the cafe has become big and it has 192 employees and 192 slaves. Obviously, the slaves are going to be paid salary every month. So this is the cafe paying the slave salary every month. The slaves will take the salary and use it, enjoy it, spend it on EMIs. At the end of the year, they will pay taxes to the government, but the government doesn't want to wait. So they tell this cafe, why don't you do one thing? Whenever you're paying them the salary, why don't you deduct TDS and why don't you pay it to us? The cafe said, okay, but at what rate? Because salary depends. Some person has high salary, some person has low salary. So the government told you, why don't you do one thing? You deduct it at average rates. So what is average rate? We'll see soon. But guys, this one is TDS on salary. Yes, this is TDS on salary. The section is section 192. How will you remember? Because there are 192 employees in the cafe or 192 slaves in the cafe. Now let's figure out average rate. How do you figure out? Guys, the cafe will sit with every employee. They will call the employee in the morning when there are no people in the cafe. They will call them and they will make them sit down and tell us about your income. We know about your salary income, but do you have any house property income? Do you have any PGBP income on an estimated basis? Whatever incomes, they will take the incomes. Then they will give them deductions. If they have any deductions, like salary gets 50,000 deduction, etc. And then they will come up to their gross total income. They will also take the loss, but only loss from house property. Only loss from house property is also something that they can tell the employer. And from the gross total income, they will ask them that are you going to contribute to provident fund, life insurance, etc. If they do, then you will get deduction for that. And that's how they will come up with the total income. So they become basically your chartered accountants. Yes, they almost become your chartered accountants, and they figure your total income, and then that's how they figure your tax payable as well. So let's say your tax payable, they figured that your tax payable is 60,000 rupees in the whole year with surcharge, with cess, everything, and that divided by 12 is 5,000. So now every time they pay you, they will deduct 5,000 and pay to the government. Yes, this, guys, is Again, very interesting. This is on payment basis whenever they pay you, and this is on average rate. Yes, this is on average rate. But what if, guys, there is one of the slaves is a watchman who earns only 10,000 rupees a month. 10,000 into 12 is 1,20,000 with a 50,000 rupee deduction. His salary is only 70,000. So there will be no tax. If it's not paying to pay any tax, then there will be no TDS. So every person, he has to figure out personally, yes, one by one, he has to figure out everyone's average rate and pay to the government TDS based on that average rate. Now guys, once he's figured that out, obviously we want the PAN number. But you should be having PAN number of your employees, right? Guys, it's almost like me asking you for your parents' mobile number. You cannot say that I don't have my parents' mobile number. That's funny. So same way, you cannot say that my slave's PAN number I don't have. If you don't have your slave's PAN number, then in the absence of any PAN number, the rate will be a huge maximum marginal rate. What is this maximum marginal rate? Is the maximum rate that can be applied to any individuals. Basic tax 30%, surcharge 37%, and HEC 4%, which lands up to 42 point. Just 1 second. 42.744. Do you have to remember this? No, you can calculate it. I just did calculation also. Guys, 30% of basic tax, then 37% of 30%. So you can't add 30 and 37, you can't add, and 4% of HEC. If you calculate this on a base of 100, you will get 42.74%. Basically, if they don't give the PAN, this is the maximum marginal rate, which is very high. Yes, very high, because you're supposed to know their PAN number. They are your slaves. Anyway, guys, here you have to deposit the money by the 7th of the next month. All of that is okay. Anything more that you should know? Let me just check. Yes, guys, here you will also take their losses that I also told you about. Yes, so that is section 192. Quick recap on section 192, slaves. Guys, every company has employees. You will be an employee of KPMG or EY or Deloitte very soon, and when you get your salary, is some people joke about it that the salary is very small because a lot of tax is deducted. So what is that tax called? That's called TDS. This section is section 192, TDS on salary on payment basis on the average rate. Why average rate? Because a watchman's salary and the CEO salary are different. So every person, they will ask them the details, they will become their CAs. They will take losses also, but only losses from house property. They will ask for the deductions also. But guys, this is an estimate at the start of the year. What if this changes? What if I have more deductions or less deductions? Then if there is any difference, they have calculated 60,000 rupees as a tax. What if ultimately you have to pay 2,000, you will have to pay on your own. And what if ultimately you have to pay 55, then you can take a refund of that 5,000. If you don't give the PAN, then there's a huge punishment of maximum marginal rate of 42.744%. This is section 192. Guys, if someone told you today that your bank account has a lot of money, you will not want to do any work and you will want to do aram. Same, some employees started doing aram. Some employees or some slaves, there were 192 slaves. Some of those 192 slaves started doing aram, that is 192A. This is the section. Now what is aram? Just 1 second, guys. Yes, guys. So some employees saw their provident fund balance. They saw a lot of money in their provident fund and they said, why should we work so hard? We have so much money in our provident fund. So this is the provident fund, and they started withdrawing money from their provident fund. Now guys, withdrawing money from SPF is not a problem because it's exempt. But withdrawing money from RPF within 5 years, yesterday only we discussed in salaries that you cannot withdraw within 5 years, and if you withdraw within 5 years, it becomes taxable. So if you withdraw from the RPF within 5 years and you are not being unemployed, or your company is not done shut down, or you've not become unemployed because of shutdown or disease, etc., then the government says, listen, this is taxable. I repeat, after 5 years, no tax and hence no TDS. But within 5 years, if you withdraw, there is taxable. Unless, guys, you are unemployed because the company has shut down or you become disabled, etc. So here, because you withdrew within 5 years, the government tells the PF authority that PF authority, why don't you deduct TDS on this and pay me at the rate of 10%. PF authority says, okay, I will deduct and pay you. So TDS rate is what rate, guys? TDS rate here is 10%, but only if the withdrawal, aggregate withdrawal in 5 years is more than 50,000. That means what if in the first year I withdrew 45,000? No problem. Is it taxable? Yes. Who will pay the tax? I will pay the tax, but no TDS. What if in the next year I withdrew 10 more thousand? Then is my aggregate going more than 50,000? Yes. So now on the entire 50,000, PF authority will deduct 10%. So TDS at the rate of 10%, yes, only if the amount is more than 50,000. If the amount is more than 50,000, aggregate, yes, aggregate. This is on payment or credit basis, whichever is earlier. And here also, guys, the PF authority should have your PAN number. If PAN number is not given, then guys, MMR. See, generally the PAN number is not given, it's 20%. But for slaves, they have an extra rate of MMR 42.744%. And for online, it is only 2%, guys. Sorry, it's only 5% if you don't give the PAN. I'll repeat, not giving PAN is a punishment, yes. And the TDS rate increases to 20%. But if it's slaves not giving PAN, then it's MMR. And if it's online transaction, that kind of Zomato, etc., and you not giving PAN, then it's 5% in that case. So this is section 192A. Aram? Yes, Aram. Remember, guys, in 5 years in the exam, if they say you've withdrawn money in the 5 years, but because of unemployment due to disability, etc., then it's not taxable. And if it's not taxable, there is no TDS. Guys, quickly recapping, what is section 192A? A is for Aram. More than 50,000 aggregate in 5 years of RPF withdrawal, TDS at the rate of 10%, MMR if PAN number is not given, and this is for the Provident Fund Authority. Now, guys, going to the next one. This is the cafe, and guys, just now, right now, my neighborhood office, there is some renovation going on. So it sometimes happens that you have to pay contractors, you have to pay money to contractors. So this is a cafe and they are paying money to a contractor who can be a caterer. Yes, a caterer is also a contractor. A person who is making furniture for you, a carpenter, is also a contractor. A goods transport agency is also your contractor. Someone who is basically giving you any other works contract is also a contractor. So there can be different contractors, etc. And when you pay them contract fee, it's their income, and the government says, listen, they will pay the tax at the end of the year. I don't want to wait so much. So can you do one thing? Can you deduct TDS and pay? But because they are contractors, they don't make too much profit margin, and hence deduct only 2%. And is that low? Yes, very low. In fact, if these contractors are individuals or HUFs, then only 1% if that person is an individual HUF, not the person who's paying, the person who's receiving. So quickly recapping, are you paying a contractor? Yes. If you're paying the contractor, then TDS at the rate of 2%, and if the contractor is an individual HUF, then TDS at the rate of 1%. But there is a shortcut, guys. First up, the section is 194C, C is contractor. The shortcut is small personal limit. Very good shortcut, guys. Small personal limit. In these three cases, there is no TDS applicable. What is this small personal limit? First, let's start with limit. If you are paying up to 30,000 per transaction, that means you paid once 28,000, any TDS? No. Next time you paid 30,000, any TDS? No. So up to 30,000 per transaction, no TDS, and up to 1 lakh per person, no TDS. Example, what if I paid 25,000 the first time? No TDS. Second time, no TDS. Third time, no TDS. Fourth time, no TDS. I'm paying to the same person, but if I pay fifth time, then is it going more than 1 lakh? Yes. So you have to keep checking both. Yes, keep checking both. And if it goes more than 1 lakh, here in the fifth transaction, guys, it is going to 1 lakh 25. Then on the entire 1 lakh 25, you have to deduct TDS at the rate of 2% or 1% as the case may be. So is there a limit? Yes, limit of 30,000 for per transaction and 1 lakh per person. This is per annum. Next, guys, if you are paying to these guys not for office purposes but for personal purposes, example, you are getting married, congratulations, and you paid a caterer, then in that case, for personal purposes, guys, no TDS in case of personal purposes. And last, guys, if you are a small individual, small HUF, you already know, guys, small not by size but small by turnover. If your last year's turnover is small, 1 crore 50 lakh, or last year you were a salaried person, etc., then in case of small individual, small HUF, this section will not apply. So 194C is contractor, small personal limit is a shortcut. Some more details coming up on the screen, guys. TDS rate is 2% or 1%. Guys, here, if you're paying to a goods transport agency, example, this is a goods transport agency, and this goods transport agency is a small goods transport agency, that means having up to 10 goods carriages. Guys, up to 10 goods carriages means small. Yes, up to 10 goods carriages is small, and they give you PAN number, then in that case no TDS applies in that case. So GTA up to 10 goods carriages and giving you PAN number, no TDS applies. By the way, we forgot, this is payment or credit, whichever is earlier, and if PAN number is not given, no PAN, then 20%, that is a common punishment. This is also here, and payment or credit, whichever is earlier. Also, guys, you should understand what is a works contract. Works contract involves two things. One is specifications and second is material. Example, let's say, guys, in my office, let's say I want to get a new table made, and I ask a furniture manufacturer or a carpenter to come to my office, and I give him the specification. I want the table like this, and I also give him the main material, and he makes the table for me. Then I have given him a contract, and on that it's called a works contract. TDS will apply. But what if I go out and I buy a table? Then that's not a works contract, because there I have not given the material. And what if I go and ask him to make a table with my logo on it? Then in that case also, you've given the specifications but not material. Both have to be there, only then it is a works contract. In the exam, they could give you that you are getting personalized diary. The diary paper is also given by you, and the logo is also given by you, and the shape is also specified by you. Is that a works contract? Yes. And in that, TDS will apply? Yes. Next, guys, you are renting a warehouse. There's a warehouse, you are renting it, but you are paying not just for rent, but you are also paying for handling, storage, etc. Then in that case, will 194I apply? Initially you rent, or 194C will apply? They say 194C will apply, because warehousing is not just renting. Warehousing is also giving you a lot of services like storage, transport, managing the warehouse, etc. And last, guys, if there is a flight, a new airline in India has started, if that flight of AXA Air lands in Mumbai and is parked, the airport authority will charge them some money for landing and parking. But is that rent? No, it's a service, it's a contract. So hence landing and parking or aircrafts is also under 194C. TDS will be deducted. Guys, in the exam, how do you identify this? If they say any contract, then TDS under 194C will be deducted. Guys, just checking, anything is remaining here? I think this is it. Quickly, let's recap section 194C. C is for contract. Are you paying to a contractor? Yes. Please deduct TDS at what rate? 2%, very low, yes. And if individual HUF contractor, then 1%, yes. Small personal limit of 30,000 per transaction. If it's below that, no TDS. And also check limit of 1 lakh per person per annum. If it crosses that on the entire excess, on the entire amount, not the excess amount, there will be TDS. Personal purposes, no TDS. If you're small individual, small HUF, be happy, no TDS in this case. Same like 194I, there was also, you were paying rent but no TDS. GTA, guys, up to 20 lakh, up to 10 goods carriages and having a PAN number, no GTA, no TDS. Warehousing is 194C, landing and parking is 194C, works contract is 194C. This is section 194C. And very similar to 194C is jealous professionals. Guys, while I'm aiming and I'm hoping that you become professionals very soon, chartered accountants, guys, there is a concept of jealous professionals. What is this? Jealous is only 194J. So you are paying professionals, which are, the shortcut is PTNRD. These are 5 professionals you are paying. What is this? This P is professionals, this T is technical services, this is non-compete fee, this is R is royalty, and D is director's remuneration. If you are making these 5 payments, P, T, N, R, D, these are all considered to be professionals. The government says under section 194J, J for jealous professionals, the government says please deduct TDS and pay to us, and because professionals make a lot of money, the TDS rate should be 10%. So what is the TDS rate? Here it is 10%. For some cases like technical services, call center and movie royalty, it is only 2%. Some details which are common from 194C, small personal limit. Small individual, small HUF, if you are paying to any of these, let's say you have engaged a professional to file your CA filing return, then in that case it's a personal purpose and you are a small individual, small HUF. So small individual, small HUF doesn't apply, personal purpose doesn't apply, and limit. Yes guys, here there is only one limit. What is the limit? The limit is 30,000. So small personal limit here also, but here the only limit is 30,000 per transaction, and very careful guys, per category. That means guys, if you pay to a professional 28,000 and if you pay to the same professional technical fees also of 28,000, will you aggregate it? No, because it is per category. So 28 and 28, in this case there will be no TDS. Guys, this was the opposite which was given in 194I. In 194I you would aggregate it per person. Here it is not per person, here it is per category. So per category the limit is 30,000. Per category you have to keep in mind 30,000 limit. So small personal limit, this is 194J. But this limit does not apply to director's remuneration. That means guys, to other people TDS only if I pay more than 30,000. To director, even if I pay 10,000, there will be TDS. Yes. So this limit restriction does not apply to director's remuneration. This is 194J. Let me just check if there's anything else in 194J. Yes, this is on payment or credit basis, whichever is earlier, that we already know. Most of them is payment or credit, whichever is earlier. Again guys, if one of these people don't give their PAN number, if no PAN, then the TDS rate is what guys? It is 20%. 206 AA. So this is the deal with section 194J. Important, yes. Let's do a quick recap on 194J. Please remember, J is jealous professionals. There are 5 professionals, PT, NRD. If you're paying them, TDS at the rate of 2% has to be paid to the government. Guys, payment or credit, whichever is earlier, and if no PAN, 20%. This TDS rate will be 2% in case of technical services, call center services, and movie royalty. Guys, here it is individually small personal limit. So that means small individual, small HUF. If you are paying, then no TDS. If it's a personal purpose, like a divorce case, someone is filing, lawyer is handling, then no TDS. And if it's a limit of 30,000, that means if you're paying up to 30,000, no TDS. This limit is per category, not per person. Yes, this is section 194J. Guys, we are somewhere around halfway of this chapter. Somewhere around halfway of this chapter, more than half actually. So now we will do one section which is common for 3 sections. Watch out, watch out, watch out. Guys, this is a cafe, and every time they want a new location, or every time they want to rent a new place, they ask a helper to help. A helper basically is a broker, but the section is 194H, so I'm using the word helper. The cafe, of course, will pay brokerage to this guy. You can call it brokerage or you can call it commission. And the government here says that, listen, while you pay brokerage and commission, that helper will file his taxes at the end of the year. So why don't you do this? Deduct TDS at the rate of 5% and pay it to me. So the cafe says, okay, above any amount, yes, only if the amount of brokerage or commission paid is more than 15,000 to a person per annum. Alright, so what section is it, guys? This is a section called 194H. Yes, 194H helper. What is the TDS rate? 5%. Only if the amount that is being paid is more than 15,000 per annum per person. Yes. Otherwise, guys, if I don't put per annum per person, every time you have to pay 20,000, you will pay 14,000 and 6,000. So you will avoid this TDS section. And for that, the government said per person per annum. And here, payment or credit, whichever is earlier. If no PAN, then 20%, all that we already know. Just one more thing, guys, just like 194I, initially we rent, or just like 194C, contractor, even in this case, H, guys, here also, and just like 194J also, here also, this does not apply to small individual and small HUF. That is section 194H, H is for helper. Guys, is this commission or brokerage? Yes, this is TDS on commission or brokerage. Next, guys, this is an insurance company and they are very happy that you are an agent and you sold lots of insurance policies. So are they paying you commission just like in the first case? Yes, but this is insurance commission. This is not general commission. This is insurance commission. The government says here also, please, when you're paying them insurance commission, please deduct TDS and pay to us. Same at the rate of 5% if the amount is more than 15,000. So it's the same, yes, but guys, people buy insurances because they are scared of doctors' fees, death, etc. So the section is section 194D. What's the difference between the first one and the second one? In the first one, it was basically any general insurance and brokerage. Here it is only, it was any general commission and brokerage. Here it is only insurance commission. There also 5%, here also 5%, there also 15,000, here also payment of credit 20%. Only this thing is unique to helpers because, guys, insurance companies can never be small individuals, small HUFs. And third category, guys, this is the government who very often runs lotteries, but they don't sell. They ask agents to sell the lotteries, and because the agents sell a lot of lotteries, they get commission. And on that, the government says, listen, deduct TDS at the rate of 5%. Same, yes, same. Only thing is, in the first case, it was general brokerage and commission. Second case is the insurance commission, and here it is lottery commission. The section is section 194G, G for gambling. This is section 194G, G is for gambling. So guys, all these three sections are interlinked. Yes, let me show you how they are interlinked. H for helper, D for death or D for doctor, and G is for gambling. In all these three cases, are you paying commission? Yes. First is general brokerage commission, next is insurance commission, last is lottery commission. And in all these three commissions, guys, TDS rate 5%, amount more than 15,000, then TDS will apply at the rate of 5%. Payment or credit, whichever is earlier in all three, yes. Only thing is this small individual, small HUF will not apply only in the first case. So that means if you are not a cafe owner, but you are a student and students were paying brokerage, then in that case, no TDS will apply. Guys, it's been 1 hour 10 minutes. We'll take a 5-minute break here. We'll come back. We are almost 65% done with this chapter. We'll come back and we'll complete this chapter, then move to TCS and then move to advanced tax before we take up any questions. Thank you and see you. Guys, so here we go. We have done this. Now, getting to a slightly different but important section nonetheless. It's basically the amount that you get from your life insurance company. Death amount, I call it, and that is section 194DA. Generally, guys, death amount is exempt. We've already seen a section called section 1010D, whereby any amount that you receive on death, it is exempt, and any amount that you receive when all your premiums are low is exempt. Then if it's exempt, then why are we doing a TDS section? Because apparently TDS is only when it's taxable. Yes, but guys, sometimes the premiums are high. We've seen that already. If your premiums are about 20% or about 10% now, or for handicapped people, if about 20% and above 15% now, then they are taxable, and in that case 194DA will say. So this is basically an insurance company or an life insurance company, and they are paying you some amount which is taxable. This is you, they are paying you some amount which is taxable. So the government says, listen, why don't you do one thing? Why don't you deduct TDS and pay at the rate of 5%? You say okay, but the government says follow these following 3 steps. So what are the 3 steps, guys? First step, the amount that you're getting should be more than 1 lakh rupees. Yes, so the gross amount that you're getting should be more than 1 lakh, otherwise TDS will not apply. It will be taxable, but TDS will not apply. Let's take an example, guys. You took a policy of 5 lakh rupees and the premium was 80,000 rupees. You paid 4 times premium, so or you paid 5 times premium, so you basically paid 4 lakh rupees premium. On a 5 lakh rupee policy, you paid 4 lakh rupee premium. So this, whenever you got the amount, you got, let's say, 5 lakh, plus you can also get some bonus, etc. So whatever is your gross amount should be more than 1 lakh. So in this case, will the gross amount be more than 1 lakh? Yes. Step number 2, they say find out the net amount. What is the net amount? They are giving you 5 lakh, let's say, but you have also paid 4 lakh. So the net amount, or let's take a slightly different example, with bonus, they paid you 5 lakh plus 25,000 as bonus. So they paid you 5 lakh 25, but what you contributed as premiums were 4 lakh. Guys, you all know what is insurance policy. You also have to pay some premium. The premium you paid, you have to minus, because that is not your income. So you paid 4 lakh, you got 5 lakh 25. So as a smart businessman, you know what are you getting is 1 lakh 25. So find out the net amount. And step number 3, on that net amount at the rate of 5% will be the TDS. Guys, this one again, this is on payment or credit, whichever is earlier. This also PAN, if you know PAN 20%, all those sections also remain the same. This is section 194DA. Let's do a quick recap on section 194DA. Guys, 194DA is death amount when you're getting some money from a life insurance corporation for any HDFC Life, etc. Also, if it's on the death, exempt, no TDS. If all the premiums are low, then exempt, no TDS. But if it's taxable, then is there TDS? Yes, under which section? 194DA. First step, the gross amount that you're getting, that means whatever total amount you're getting should be more than 1 lakh. Only then you enter this section. Yes. Second step, you find out the net amount. Net amount means how much are you getting minus how much have you paid. And on that net amount, TDS is at the rate of 5%. Guys, that is 194DA. Now just checking if there's anything else left. DA is done, G, H, IA is done, IC, IB, LA, yes. Guys, while we discussed initially you rent. So initially you rented some immovable property where you paid rent 194I. Then you acquired it, immovable property, you acquired it, but sometimes, guys, you don't acquire it, the government acquires it. That is called compulsory acquisition. So this is a government or a government body, and they really like your house, not because it's nice, but because they want to build a metro over it. So they tell you that, listen, we want to compulsorily acquire it. The shortcut is legally acquire, because the section is 194LA. 194LA is legally acquire. And for that legal acquisition, they are paying you, let's say, 50 lakh rupees. The government is your, they say that this guy will be paying capital gains tax in the end. So why not do one thing? When you're paying him, deduct TDS at the rate of 10%. Is the rate more? Yes, guys, TDS at the rate of 10%. When you were buying immovable property, that time TDS was only 1%. Here in compulsory acquisition LA, the TDS rate becomes 10%. So is this higher? Yes, higher. But in 194 IA, the amount of sale consideration should have been more than 50 lakh. Here it should be more than 2.5 lakhs. So is this smaller? Yes. So one is higher, one is smaller. Guys, this the government is paying and they can delay the payment, and hence very smart, they are saying we'll do it only on payment basis. So whenever they pay, they will deduct TDS, not on credit basis. If you don't give your PAN number, then TDS will be at the rate of 20%. Perfect. This is 194 LA. LA is TDS on compulsory acquisition of immovable property. Let's recap, guys. Immovable property you can rent, immovable property you can acquire, but sometimes the government acquires immovable property called compulsory acquisition, called legally acquire, 194 LA. If they pay more than 2.5 lakh rupees for the property, TDS will be at the rate of 10%. Yes, on payment basis, because it's the government, so whenever they pay, they will deduct TDS. Very smart of them. And if no PAN, then 20% TDS. This is section 194 LA, legally acquire. Guys, in the exam, they don't keep it very simple. They will write 2,10,000 in this case. They want you to know exceptions, guys. They want you to know exceptions. So this is the exception. It should be more than 2,50,000. Next, guys, this is a builder, a construction company, or a builder. So I'm just writing CC, that is construction company. And this is you, and you guys have entered into a joint development agreement. Now let me recap. Joint development agreement is something that we saw in capital gains chapter, whereby you are giving your land and they said they will build a 5-story building, 5 additional floors they will give you along with 1 crore rupees. So this is a joint development agreement that both of you all had, and this is the government here. And they ask you that what do you see? So you see a plain piece of land, but what does the builder and what does the government see? They see 5 additional floors, if you remember. So this is a section called 194 IC. Basically I see 5 additional floors. The government says, listen, you are going to get 5 additional floors. Yes. So X amount of space you will get, but I can't deduct TDS on space. If there is, let's say you're getting 5,000 square feet, I cannot deduct 5,000, deduct 10% square feet and pay to me. But are you also getting 1 crore rupees, the monetary component? On that monetary component, please deduct TDS and pay to me at the rate of 10%. This is section 194 IC. So what you see, this is how you have to remember. I see 5 additional floors. Guys, TDS is only on the monetary component. Yes. Payment or credit, whichever is earlier. If no PAN, 20%, all that remains common. Guys, let's do a quick recap on this not so important section called 194 IC. So in this case, is there a joint development agreement? Yes, there's a joint development agreement. In the joint development agreement, are you going to get additional space? Yes. And are you going to get some money also? Yes, additional space. There is no TDS. On the monetary component, whenever they pay or whenever they credit your books, your name in their books of accounts, whichever is earlier, they will deduct TDS at the rate of 10% and pay to the government with your PAN number. If you don't give the PAN number, TDS will be at the rate of 20%. All right. Guys, the next section, there is someone who's really happy and the government doesn't like to see them so happy. These people are small individuals and small HUFs. Why are they so happy? Because when you saw 194J, that is jealous professionals, when they were paying for 194J, they did not have to deduct TDS. When they paid the helper brokerage, they did not have to deduct TDS. And also, when they paid contractors some money, they did not have to deduct TDS. So they are really happy. Small individual, small HUF, they did not have to deduct TDS. Guys, deducting TDS is a mess. First you have to deduct it, then you have to pay to the government. If you forget, you have to pay interest, you have to fill up forms, etc. So they were really happy with this. So, and in fact, they were happy to an extent that they were misusing this. We've all heard of, guys, McDonald's has unlimited Coke at some places, some countries in the world, including in Bombay. McDonald's at one place had unlimited Coke. So you could just buy the bottle, the glass, and keep refilling. Guys, they had to literally stop it because we were not just enjoying it, we were misusing it. Same thing happened in this section also. People were enjoying it to the level that they were misusing this. I'll tell you why I'm saying misusing. There's a shortcut there. So people were paying to professionals, people were paying to their brokers, and people were paying to contractors, small individuals, small HO were making these payments without deducting TDS, and the government says, can you justify his case? Because you are misusing, the government says, can you justify his case? And no, you could not justify. So the government introduced a section called section 194M, M for misuse, and they said small individuals and small HUFs, your party is now over. If you are going to pay to professionals or to helpers or to contractors, justify his case. And if you're going to pay more than 50 lakh rupees per annum, then you will have to deduct TDS and pay to the government at the rate of 5%. So your party is over, that you'll never have to deduct TDS. No, you will have to deduct TDS, but only for big amounts if the amount is more than 50 lakh per annum. What if you pay 40 lakh? No problem. What if you pay 40 lakh once and then in the same year to the same person you pay 15 more lakh? Then is the aggregate more than 50 lakh? Yes. Then on the entire amount or the excess amount? Always on the entire amount, guys. On the entire. So let's say first you paid 40 lakhs. Any TDS? No. Then you paid 15 lakh. Is this going above 50 lakh? Yes. On the entire 55 lakh at the rate of 5% you will deduct when you are paying this 15 lakhs. This is section 194M. This is specifically applicable only to small individuals, small HUF. This is applicable on payment or credit, whichever is earlier. If there is no PAN, then TDS will apply at the rate of 20%. So guys, in the exam, if they give you a small individual, small HUF, then this is the section you will go to, one of the sections. There are two sections which are for small individual, small HUF. This is one of them. Alright, so just recapping this section, guys. Section 194M, M is misuse. Are you misusing your section small individual, small HUF? Yes, stop misusing it, because if you pay more than 50 lakh to J, H and C, there will be TDS at the rate of 5% that you will have to pay. But good part, guys, here, because you're small individual, small HUF, you don't have to pay by the 7th of next month. You can pay within 30 days from the end of this month. So if it's the month of August and you're supposed to pay now, then you can pay by 30th September. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So here is the next section. Also again for small individual, small HUF. So small individual, small HUF, you have two sections, 194M and this next section. Guys, you are small individual and small HUF. You are renting a beautiful house. This is a house and you are renting such a beautiful house and you are paying rent of, let's say, 90,000 a month. But someone told you rent 194I does not apply to you, so you were not deducting TDS because 194I does not apply to you. But the government says, listen, you are paying a lot of rent. You are, although you are small, but still you are paying a lot of rent. So hence in this case, you will have to deduct TDS again at the rate of 5%. So for small individual, small HUF, both the places it is 5% only. Here also 5%, here also 5%. So this section, the small individual, small HUF found it impossible to buy and hence he also rented. That's why it's 194IB. IB means impossible to buy. So that is 194IB, impossible to buy. And in this case, TDS will be at the rate of 5%. Yes, only if the monthly rent is more than 50,000. That means, guys, on small rent, the government does not want to get bothered. This is only for small individual, small HUF if they are paying big rent of more than 50,000. But guys, here's a problem. You are a small individual, small HUF. That means you're a student maybe, and you're paying rent of 50,000. More than that, every month paying TDS to the government is a big deal. So you tell the government, do I have to pay it monthly? Do I have to pay it monthly? Because that's a big problem, and I'm small. If I was a businessman, no problem, but I'm small. So the government says, don't worry, you don't have to pay monthly, you have to pay yearly. So you got very happy, but when in the year you have to pay? They say, if you hold the house till March, then you have to deduct it whenever you pay March rent. But what if you are leaving the house in December only? So whenever you are leaving, or till March, whichever is earlier. So let's take an example, guys. You started renting a place in April from the start of the year, paying 90,000 rupees rent. Every month you were paying the rent, you don't have to deduct TDS, no. 90,000 into 12, you were there for 12 months. So the whole year went by, and then came March, and in March you basically were paying your rent of 90,000. So the government says this month you need to deduct, so only the last month you need to deduct. Total, how much rent is it? Total 10,80,000 into 5% is 54,000. So the last month when you are paying 90,000, you need to deduct 54,000 in this case. So I repeat, do you have to do monthly deduction? No, because you're a small individual, small HUF, you don't have to do monthly deduction. At the end of the year or whenever you're leaving, see how much rent you have to pay, and on that you have to deduct TDS at the rate of 5%. But guys, what if you were paying 90 very well? In March also you were paying 90, but you asked him for a PAN number and he refused to give you PAN number. So you have to deduct now at the rate of 20%. So on 10,80,000, that is 90,000 into 12 is 10,80,000. On that total rent, if you take 20%, is 2,16,000. Now when you're paying 90,000, how will you deduct 2,16,000? So then the government says, if that is the rare case, then whatever you are paying, only up to that much you will deduct TDS. So how much rent will you pay the last month to the owner? Nothing, and the entire amount you will pay as TDS. The balance they will chase the government will chase the landlord, and they will remove that money. So I repeat, guys, slightly tricky here. This is 194 IB. There are only two sections for small individual, small HUF. This is the second section. 194 IB is impossible to buy, so you rent. If your rent is more than 50,000 rupees, and TDS at the rate of 5%. Because you are small, you don't have to pay individual every month TDS every year and in the month of March or whenever you are leaving, whichever is earlier. And if in the month of March you are deducting and the deduction is more than the rent you are paying, then you limit it to the amount of rent you are paying. This is section 194 IB, and the earlier one was section 194 M. These are two sections which are applicable to small individual, small HUF. So in the exam, if they give you small individual, small HUF, please make sure you are focusing on these two sections. Now guys, going to the next section. Okay. Now guys, are all the income sections here. So this is you. First, you are earning dividend income. So can you explain only section 194M again? Sorry, difficult to explain 194M again. You can watch the recording please, or on my YouTube channel I have a 3-hour video on TDS. You can go to 194M and revise it there, but in a nutshell I will revise it for you SN. So in a nutshell, what is 194M? 194M is a section which applies only to small individuals, small HUF. That means those people whose last year's turnover is up to 1 crore or 50 lakhs, or if last year you were salaried, etc. When you are paying, and the nature of payment is 3, which is either you are paying to professionals, or you are paying to contractors, or you are paying to brokers. If these 3 payments you are making, and if it's more than 50 lakhs, example, you are paying to a contractor 40 lakhs, no TDS, but you are paying to a contractor 52 lakhs in that whole year, together aggregate, yes, then on the entire 52 lakhs TDS at the rate of 5%. But aren't you small? Yes, so you don't have to pay by the 7th of the next month, you have to pay by the 30th of the next month. That in a nutshell is section 194M. This is, I hope you understand now 194M better. If still it is a problem, do a sum on it and watch the recording, you'll understand better. Perfect. Guys, looking at this next section already, guys, I hope you understand. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. It's just that it's a fast track course. I have slightly limited time, so I'm trying to make the most of it. Tomorrow, guys, again we will open up for any questions that you have, and if there is any section, etc., we will deal with them tomorrow again. Perfect. Guys, this is you and this is a company, and congratulations, the company has declared dividend. Is this income? Yes, this is income. Next, instead of the company, it is a mutual fund, and congratulations, this mutual fund has also declared dividend, but they don't call it dividend, they say we have declared income. Next, this is a company or the government who has issued debentures, and you had bought those debentures or government securities, and now they are paying you interest. This is your bank, Axis Bank, and this is you, and they are paying you interest. And last, this is National Savings Certificate, and this is you, and they are paying you interest. So here, guys, these incomes are all very similar: dividend income, income from mutual fund, interest from companies, debentures, etc., interest from bank, and interest from National Savings Certificate. These are all interest and dividend sections. And in this case, the government says, listen, we don't want to wait till you file your return and pay your taxes. So why don't you guys, all of you all, why don't you all do one thing? You all pay, whenever you all pay or whenever you all credit, deduct TDS, common TDS rate. Yes, I'm discussing all of them common because of that common TDS rate. The TDS rate is 10%. So deduct TDS at the rate of 10% and pay it to us. So in all these cases, the TDS rate is the same. Yes, it's 10%. Now we'll discuss one by one each one of them. Guys, the first one we are discussing is on the screen, which is basically dividend. Guys, dividends earlier were tax free, you know that, but now they're taxable, and you know that also, and they're taxable under IFOS. So when you are paying this dividend, for the person who's receiving it, the shareholder, it will be taxable under IFOS, and the government doesn't want to wait, so they say deduct TDS at the rate of 10% and pay me. But there's a limit, guys, only if this dividend is more than 5,000. So only if this dividend is more than 5,000, then TDS at the rate of 10%. But this 5,000 dividend, basically that means if the company is paying you dividend of 4,000 rupees, will there be any TDS? No. But if the company is paying you 6,000 rupees TDS, will there be dividend? Will there be TDS? Yes. So only if the dividend is more than 5,000, TDS at the rate of 10%. But this limit of more than 5,000 is only for bank dividend or other than cash. What if a company, guys, small companies can also give you cash dividend? The government doesn't like that, and hence they say if the company has given cash dividend, then this 5,000 limit will not apply. So if the cash dividend is even 1,000 rupees, TDS will apply. So that's the first one, section 194. Repeating it, please, let's do a recap on section 194. A company is giving dividend to you. If the dividend paid to you other than cash is more than 5,000 rupees, then TDS at the rate of 10% will have to be paid to the government. As your PAN number generally is there, if it's not there, then 20%, but generally in your demat account, etc., PAN number is already there. Sorry, this limit of 5,000 will not apply in case the cash dividend is paid. So cash dividend 5,000 limit does not apply. Who pays cash dividend, guys, these days? Small companies may pay cash dividend. Guys, going to the next one. In this next one, just one second. All right, guys, the next one is income from a mutual fund. Guys, India's best mutual fund is Kotak Mutual Fund, not for any reason but for the shortcut. The shortcut is 194K. When a mutual fund is paying you income in the exam, they can give you any mutual fund, and when that mutual fund is paying you income, and if the income is more than 5,000 rupees, the government says you need to deduct TDS, no guesses for that, at the rate of 10%. But here, what about cash dividend? Guys, there is nothing like cash income, because mutual funds will never pay cash. Mutual funds are very big houses, they will never pay out cash. So this is 194K, 194, and I'm looking at straight the last one, because these two we'll discuss on the next page. National Savings Certificate or National Savings Schemes. Guys, we yesterday discussed national savings schemes. If you put money in the national savings scheme, then you get a deduction under section 80C. Girl's life now needs 5 senior assets. Now, guys, you already put money. Let's say you put 50,000 rupees in national savings certificate and you got a deduction under 80C. Guys, it's generally locked in for 5 years, and after 5 years you get that 50,000 along with interest. So let's say you're getting 50,000 plus you're getting 10,000 rupees interest, 60,000 you're getting. So the government says, listen, if this interest is more than 2,500, here the limit changes. Yes, the limit becomes smaller, because generally, guys, national savings certificate, you put smaller amounts. So in that case, if the interest is more than 2,500, TDS at the rate of 10% will have to be paid to the government. Yes. Guys, this is very simple, but the section is section 194EE, extremely exhausting. That's why I told you guys national savings schemes are extremely exhausting, because there was a shortcut connected to this. So 194, 194K and 194EE are the sections here, and this too, that is the interest, we will see on the next page now. Alright, let's see interest, guys. Generally, debentures or bonds or government securities, they pay you interest. Not very popular in India, especially you and me, we don't buy these a lot. But if debentures, bonds and government securities you have bought, then they will pay you interest, and this is you. The government says, again, if the interest is more than 5,000 rupees, TDS at the rate of 10% will apply. Is there an exception? Yes. In case of government securities, there's an exception. Government securities, TDS will only apply if the nominal value, that means the face value of government securities, is more than 10,000. If the nominal value is more than 10,000, only then TDS will apply. So here we go, guys. This is debentures, bonds and government securities. By the way, the section is section 193. Yes, guys, very unique section. Most of the sections were 194 only. Slaves was 192 and 192A. This is the only section which is 193. So let's recap this, guys. What is this? Interest on securities. Is it your income? Yes. From debentures, bonds, government securities, if you earn interest which is more than 5,000 rupees per payment, yes, of course, per payment, guys, then TDS will be at the rate of 10%. Guys, why per payment? Because Reliance debentures don't know how much Kotak debentures have paid you, guys. So hence it's per debenture, per payment. And for government securities, only if the nominal value is more than 10,000, then in that case TDS will apply. Perfect. So this is section 193, and we come to the one of the main sections, guys, of interest, which is bank interest, etc., which is given by India's best bank, Axis Bank. Not really, but section is 194A. Guys, typically when I say you are earning interest, people just think bank, but it's not that, guys. Banks can pay you interest. When you give money to them in a saving account or fixed deposit, they can give you interest. Even your partnership firm pays you interest, guys. Sometimes, guys, if your friend asks you for money and you give him money, your friend also, very rare, but even your friend can give you interest. So banks, partnership firms, even your friends can give you interest, etc. That means any other person also can pay you interest. This is you, and you are earning this interest. If it's more than 5,000, TDS will have to apply at the rate of 5%. But subject to exceptions, yes, lots of exceptions, guys. First, let's set the main stage clear. 194A is Axis Bank, more than 5,000 TDS at the rate of 10%. This is, sorry, my bad, TDS at the rate of 10%. But now exceptions, lots of exceptions, watch out, guys. First up, for banks. If banks are paying you interest, then it's only if the interest in the whole year is more than 40,000, only then TDS will apply. And for senior citizens, if you are a senior citizen and the bank is paying you, then TDS only if it's more than 50,000. So is there a higher limit? Yes, there is a higher limit in case of bank's payment. So let's say you have an account with ICICI Bank and they are paying you 38,000. Will there be TDS? No. But what if they are paying you 45,000? Will there be TDS? Yes, provided you're a younger person, and if you're a senior citizen, then only above 50,000. But what if I have one account with ICICI, one with HDFC, and both are giving me 38? No TDS, guys, because both don't know each other and both don't know how much each other is paying. So hence per bank, yes, per bank. But guys, what if in ICICI Bank only I have 3 branches and 3 accounts with the 3 branches, Mumbai, Delhi and Bangalore, and each branch is giving me 30,000, then will you aggregate it? Yes, it is per bank, not per branch. So 30 is 90,000 on 90,000 at the rate of 10%, because that you have to see aggregate. So interest per bank, yes, but not per branch. Banks follow something called CBS. It is a computerized or core banking solution whereby they know, each bank will know what their branches are doing. All the branches are connected. Yes, so banks 40,000, 50,000. Next, partnership firms. Guys, we saw in PGBP that partnership firm can pay interest. The amount of deduction allowed to them is maximum 12%, and whatever they get a deduction, same you will also earn income. All of that we saw. Now it's time for TDS. They say when partnership firm is paying to resident partners, then don't deduct TDS. Why? Because resident partners are in India only mostly. So then why TDS? But if you are paying to non-resident partners, then in that case you will have to deduct TDS. Next, guys, if your friend is a small individual, small HUF, yes. So if small individual, small HUF, they are paying you, then again they will be happy to not pay TDS. No TDS in this case. Be your friend because they are small individual, small HUF. So in the exam, if you're a small individual, small HUF and you're paying interest, no TDS. Next exception, guys. Most of us in India earn interest from banks, but lots of us also pay interest to banks. Vijay Malia, you, me, if we take loans, we pay interest to banks. And when we pay interest to banks or financial institutions, etc., then no TDS, because guys, we are so many of us. If all of us deduct TDS, the bank will go crazy with the amount of money that they will be blocked to. So hence, if the interest is paid to a bank, then no TDS. If the interest is paid by the bank, then TDS above 40 or 50,000. And last, guys, there is something called motor accident claim tribunal. Basically, whenever you meet with a motor accident, your claims, etc., are given by this tribunal. And here, even only if it's more than 50,000, then in that case there will be TDS. So these are exceptions of 194A. Yes, guys, very important section 194A. Please keep this in mind while we do the sums ahead. Again, payment on credit or payment or credit, whichever is earlier. If no PAN, 20%, all of those are there. Guys, generally banks already have your PAN number. CBS we've discussed. Yes, let's do a quick recap on 194A. Guys, 194A is interest other than debentures, government securities and bonds. So any other interest is your yes. Any interest that you earn, if it's more than 5,000, then TDS will be at the rate of 10%, which is very simple, but there are exceptions. For banks, per bank, not per branch, more than 40,000, and if you're a senior citizen, more than 50,000. For partnership firm, only for non-resident partners there will be TDS. For small individual, small HUF, when they pay, no TDS. When you pay to a bank, no TDS, and motor accident claim tribunal, only if it's more than 50,000, there will be TDS. Perfect. This covers almost all the TDS sections, and then the government introduced two new sections which I'm going to discuss on the screen next. Guys, this one is a payer, and when do you pay? When you buy. So he's also a buyer, he's also a payer, but he's really high value buyer or payer. That means his turnover in the last year was more than 10 crores. This is last year's turnover. Just anyone, guys. He's a buyer or payer whose turnover last year is more than 10 crores. Example, guys, you can talk about Tata Chroma. Is Tata Chroma a very big company? Yes. Will their turnover be more than 10 crores last year? Yes, definitely more than 10 crores last year. And this is Voltas ACs. And Voltas ACs, they are basically having a transaction between them, whereby Voltas ACs, of course, if this guy is a buyer, Voltas AC is a seller. And Voltas AC has sold ACs more than 50 lakh rupees this year to this buyer. Watch out, guys. All big quantities are being discussed here. The section is 194Q. Q is basically quantity. Again, how do you remember, guys? Always put the payer in the middle and start doing your sum. So there's a payer. Payer basically is the one who pays. Why will you pay? Because you bought something, that's why you'll pay. So payer or buyer in the middle. He's the large, hard, big turnover. His last year's turnover is more than 10 crores. And there's a seller who has sold him goods worth more than 50 lakh rupees in this year. Let's keep the amount as 60 lakhs. So, or let's say 62 lakhs. So this year, Chroma has bought from Voltas AC is worth 62 lakhs. This is an example, 62 lakhs. Now this is the government here. They tell Chroma, listen, I know you are very big. Your turnover last year is very big. But I want to know who is this seller who's selling such big quantities to you. So are you going to make him a payment of 62 lakhs? Yes. Whenever you make a payment, I just want to know who that guy is. So can you deduct TDS, but a very low rate, very, very low rate of only 0.1%. They said, okay, why not? On 62 lakhs, right? No, only on the excess amount. So after 194N notes, this is the only exception, guys, where notes and here it's only on the excess amount. So more than 50 lakhs, how much is the excess? The excess is 12 lakhs. So on 12 lakhs at 0.1%, which is basically 1200 rupees, can you pay to us? They said this is such a small amount. They said yes, it's a small amount. We are not looking for the amount. We are more so looking out as to who is this seller. So guys, this is a section called section 194Q, Q for quantity. The buyer has purchased goods more than 50 lakhs in a year. Yes, 50 lakhs per annum. And this purchase has to be domestic purchase. It should not be export purchase. And in that case, only on the excess, yes, only on the excess, there will be TDS at the rate of 1.5%. And what if I'm paying them after 6 months, but I'm crediting their account today? So payment or credit, whichever is earlier. Payment or credit, whichever is earlier. And if no PAN is given, guys, if no PAN is given, then 0.1% to 20% is a very high punishment. So we'll not take it to 20%. If no PAN, then 5% is the punishment. So just like 194O, if no PAN, then 5% is the punishment here. Guys, this is 194Q. A lot of people find this difficult. I wonder why. It's so simple. Let me recap this with you all of a sudden once again. Guys, how do you know how to do this? In the exam, whatever they give you, draw a diagram. If there is a buyer, put him in the middle because the buyer is the payer always in the middle. And please make sure his turnover is more than 10 crores last year. What if his turnover is not more than 10 crores? Then this section only will not apply. First condition is it should be more than 10 crores. That is first condition. Second, that buyer should have bought more than 50 lakh rupees in this year. Yes. Although this section was introduced only from the 1st of July, the calculation of more than 50 lakhs is from the starting of the year. Yes. Then only on the excess, whenever you're paying or whenever you're crediting on the excess, one person has to be paid to the government as TDS. Yes. PAN number to be provided. If no PAN, then 5%. So punishment is generally 20%. But guys, 0.1 to 20 is a very huge jump. So hence only 5%. And here remember it's on the excess amount. This is 194Q. A similar section is also there in TCS. But we'll see when we come to TCS. We'll do it. No problem, guys. Don't get worried. This is 194Q, overhyped section, but very simple if you draw the diagram. Alright, and with that, guys, we come to the last section. This is a bank, and this is a very old person. That means someone who's 75 years or more. He is earning two incomes, pension income, which comes in this bank only. Let's say this is HDFC Bank, Bangalore. And he also earns interest income. Both are in the same bank. Yes, both are in the same bank. Now the bank will pay him money. And the government says, listen, you are a bank, you are paying interest. If the interest is more than 50,000 rupees, because obviously this guy is a senior citizen, if the interest is more than 50,000, you need to deduct TDS under 194A. So let's say the interest, guys, is 1,40,000. Let's say the interest is 1,40,000. So whenever the bank is paying interest or crediting interest, they'll have to deduct TDS at the rate of 10%. That is 14,000 will be paid to the government. Now for this guy, his interest income is 1,40,000. Let's say his pension income is 3,60,000. Totals up to be 5 lakh rupees. And you know, guys, in India, any individual who's earning up to 5 lakh rupees will not land up paying any tax. So he will not land up paying any tax. But because you deducted some TDS, he will have to file his return. He'll have to go to a very expensive CA, get his return filed and wait for a refund, which is a very tedious process, especially if you're 75 years or more. And hence the government has come up with a section called 194P. P is for pension. They say that, listen, bank, you are now a specified bank. Specified bank is because pension and interest income both are coming into your bank account. Yes. And this person is 75 years or more, and hence you become a specified bank. Please go and talk to that 75-year-old man and please ask him how much is his income, calculate, become a CA, just like we become the CA of a slave under 192. So the bank met this guy, they both met and they both calculated the tax and they realized the tax is 0. Or let's say, even if it's not 0, let's say this is 4,60,000. So this becomes 6 lakh. On 6 lakh, let's say the tax to be deducted is, let's say, 10,000. Then deduct 10,000, don't deduct 14,000, deduct under section 194P. So is this any particular rate? No, here also they call it average rate. On payment or credit, whichever is earlier. Obviously, as a bank, you already have his PAN number, so that punishment rate will not apply. And this section is called section 194P. This section will not apply if this person who is earning the income is earning the income in two different banks, pension income in one, interest income in another. This will not apply. Second, it will not apply if he has more than these two incomes. If he has other income, multiple incomes, then this section will not apply. So let's do a recap on this very important section called 194P. 194P is the latest section, even after 194Q. Yes, so very important. 194P says that pension, if you are earning pension and interest income and both are the only incomes that you have and both are in the same bank account, then that bank will deduct TDS not under 194A but under 194P at average rates. And the beauty about this is because they've deducted at the average rate, 10,000 is deducted. So hence you don't have to file a return of income for a refund, return of income, you don't have to file. So you will save money of a CA. So this is the last section in TDS, guys. Now some miscellaneous sections which we need to figure. Guys, if TDS was supposed to be deducted today, 18th August, I was supposed to deduct TDS of 10,000 rupees and I forgot. Let's say I was making a payment to a CA and I forgot to deduct TDS of 10,000 today. And next payment I'm going to make on 18th September, and that time I will deduct TDS. Let's say that time I will correct my mistake. So is that a mistake? Yes. On how much amount? 10,000. I forgot to deduct. Yes. Only interest and pension, no other income. Yes. Only interest and pension, no other income. Alright. So here I forgot to deduct TDS. So on TDS, is there a mistake? Yes. So on the amount that you forgot, TDS interest will be at the rate of 1%. For how many months? Depends, 1% per month or part thereof. So August and September, 2 months. Yes, 2 months. Will we not see from 18th August to 18th September? No, you will see August full and September full. The government is very smart. It's not on the number of days, it's on the number of months. So this is when you forget to deduct TDS. But guys, let's say you deducted TDS. Deduction was not a problem. You deducted it on the 18th of August. You were supposed to pay by 7th September, but you paid it only, you delayed it and you paid it by 10th October. You were supposed to pay by 7th September, you paid in 10th October. So guys, again here TDS is not a problem, payment is a problem. And the government feels even more angry here because here you have deducted it, you are using the government's money. So here they say on 10,000 interest will be at 1.5% higher interest because here you're using the government's money. Into after 7th September the interest will start. So September and October, 2 months. Guys, this is interest section under TDS. Next. Guys, let's say this is you and you have rented some plant and machinery and that person has charged you rent of 1 lakh rupees plus GST of 18,000. So totally invoice amount is 1,18,000. You know you need to deduct TDS at the rate of 2%. But 2% of what, guys? 2% of the core amount or the GST amount or the total amount. 2% only of the core amount. That means, guys, can there be TDS on GST? No, guys, there can be no TDS on GST. That's the second discussion that I wanted to have. That in the exam, if they write GST, ignore the GST, on the core amount only there will be TDS. Alright, next. Guys, if this is you and you are renting out some land and building or plant and machinery or furniture, or you are making any payment to the government, but guys, this is the government, then can you deduct TDS and pay to the government only? That's funny. Don't do that. So if you're making a payment to the government, then no TDS. Guys, generally for most cases it is payment or credit, whichever is earlier, unless the government is paying it, etc. Then it's only on payment basis. Otherwise it's payment or credit, whichever is earlier. Next. Guys, during the COVID year, which is 1 year before your exam year is 21-22. Before that was 2021 exam year, and this year, guys, all the TDS rates had been reduced by 25%. So a 10% became 7.5, a 5% became 3.75, etc. So guys, for this year there is no such reduction in TDS rates. So if some friend tells you that, listen, there is a reduction in TDS rate, did you know about it? Please ignore that friend very well, because for your year there is no reduction in TDS rate. Alright, that is about it, guys. Now we are opening up to questions from TDS. So the best way to look at TDS is exam questions. I'm going to upload first the exam question file. We will discuss TDS. After coming from the break, we will do TCS, advanced tax and return of income. So here we go. Every year guys there is TDS questions for 6677 marks. The first question is May 19 on the screen. Please solve it. I want three numbers guys, three answers here. One, is there TDS? If yes, then which section and what is the amount? Over to you all. You all get 3-4 minutes. There are 6 ones, so you get 3 minutes to discuss this. Over to you all, and then we will discuss it together. Guys, looking at the first one, question number 2B, there are 6 parts. This easily would be about 6-7 marks. Let's see. Miss Varsha received a sum of 95,000 on 31st December 2018 towards maturity proceeds of LIC taken on 1st October 2013, for which the sum assured was 80,000 and the annual premium was 10,000. Lots of details. First, we need to know guys, is this insurance that is received on death? No. Then we need to see, are the premiums low? On 80,000 rupees, the policy was taken in the year 2013, so on or after 1st April 2012. The premium should have been maximum 10%. So 80,000 into 10% is 8,000, but you were paying 10,000. So are the premiums high? Yes. So guys, always first figure out whether it is high or low, because if it's all low, then no tax only, no TDS also. So is it high? Yes. So is it taxable? Yes, it is taxable. Now if it's taxable, you go to section 194DA. Step 1, the gross amount should be more than 1 lakh, but here guys, the amount is only 95,000, and hence in that case, TDS will not apply. So how will you write this answer in the exam? You will first only write that TDS under section 194DA will not apply in the case of amount received by Miss Varsha. Full stop. Next line. Since the policy was taken on 1st of October 2013 and the amount of premium paid is more than 10% of the sum assured, the amount received by Varsha is taxable. So first I have told that this premium is high and hence the amount is taxable. Full stop. Next line. However, since the gross amount received is not more than 1 lakh, TDS provisions will not apply. So TDS will not apply, but taxable it will be. Varsha will have to pay the tax on her own. Let's go to the second one guys. The second one, all these are very interesting one. Mr. Deepak transferred a residential house property to Karan. So there is Deepak and there is Karan. Karan is the one who will be paying. And for 45 lakhs, the stamp duty value is 55 lakhs. Guys, in this case, you have to ignore stamp duty value. You have to look at 45 lakhs. And you have to explain that as per section 194IA, since the amount paid is not more than 50 lakhs, there will be no TDS applicable, but just saying 194IA, more than 50 lakh, TDS is at the rate of 1%. So in this case also, we are done. Next, XYZ Private Limited pays the following amounts to Mr. Narayan during the year: professional fees and royalty. So basically, is this 194J? Yes. And is this limit small personal limit of 30,000? Yes. But it's paid to one person only, so can we add it? No. In 194J, it is per category. So in this case also, is this up to 30,000? So no TDS. In this case also up to 30,000, no TDS. Yes guys, I understand it's to the same person, but please understand that even if it's to the same person, this one 194J is per category. P, T, NRD, there are 5 categories. Of course D, this 30,000 limit does not apply. Next. Very interesting, payment of 1,75,000 made by Mr. Weber for purchase of calendar according to his specifications of Messrs. ABC Limited. However, no material was supplied. Guys, if material is not supplied, it is not a works contract. It is just purchase, and on that there is no TDS. So this one, you will quote section 194C. You will say for a works contract, there need to be material as well as specifications. However, since no material was supplied, it's not a works contract, it's purchase, which is not subject to any TDS. Guys, remember the last time you purchased a t-shirt or purchased anything, did you deduct TDS? No. So on purchases, there is no TDS. Talent Private Limited pays 12,000 to Sudha, its director, towards sitting fees, which is not taxable under salaries. So guys, you are paying to a director, so 194J, professional fees, and you are paying only 12,000 small personal limit. it is within 30,000, but remember for directors there is no limit, and in this case will there be TDS? Yes, there will be TDS. At what rate? At the rate of 10%. And last, Radha Limited is engaged by Sham, so Sham is going to pay for the business of operation of call center. Call center is again guys 194J. On 18 March, the total amount credited by Sham in the ledger of Radha was 70,000. Is it more than 30,000? Yes, small personal limit. Then in that case, will TDS apply? Yes. So this is again section 194J. TDS at the rate of 2% only, because guys remember technical services, call center and movie royalty is only 2%. But what is the date? The amount of payment is 28th March. The amount of credit is 18 March, whichever is earlier. So 18 March is the relevant date. But both are in March only, doesn't matter. You have to pay in April only. Going to the next question guys. This is question number 2B. Please score your 7 marks before we start discussing it together. Over to you all. For 5 questions, you'll get about 2.5 minutes before we start discussing it together. Alright guys, looking at this one, Mr. Tandon received a sum of 1,75,000 as a premature withdrawal from Employees Provident Fund scheme before continuous service of 5 years. So guys, within 5 years if you withdraw, is it taxable? Yes. If you remember section 192A, it is taxable if its aggregate is more than 50,000. At the rate of 10% TDS will apply. But guys, this is on account of termination of employment due to ill health. So this is an exception and hence it will not apply. How will you present this? Guys, you will straight up say that no TDS will be applicable in this case as under full stop. Then you will write that as per section 192A, TDS at the rate of 10% would be deducted in case of premature withdrawal from Provident Fund within 5 years. However, since the same is due to termination of employment due to ill health, the same will not be subject to TDS. Next, a sum of 42,000 has been credited. A sum of 42,000 has been credited as interest on recurring deposit by a banking company to the account of Mr. Hassan, 63 years. Guys, if a bank is paying you interest, first up the section is 194A, Axis Bank. And if you're a senior citizen, more than 50,000, only then TDS will be deducted. So in this case, TDS will not be deducted. The section you have to quote is 194A. Miss Call won a lucky draw, lucky her, 21,000. The lucky draw was organized by Messrs. Maximus Retail for its customer. Guys, it's more than 10,000 and hence TDS will be deducted under 194B at the rate of 30%. Finance Bank sanctioned or disbursed a loan of 10 crores to a borrower on 31st March 2019. The borrower paid a sum of 1 lakh as service fee to the bank. If you are paying to a bank interest, service fee, etc. guys, no TDS, that's an exception under 194A. Remember, when you pay, so many of us pay guys to the bank, they'll go crazy with the amount of money that is blocked in their case. Mr. Ashok, working in a private company, is on deputation for 3 months, that is December to February, at Hyderabad, where he pays a house rent of 52,000 for those 3 months. Guys, is Mr. Ashok a small individual, small HUF? Yes. So then, when you pay rent, you have to check 2 sections, guys. 194I is for rent, but that will not apply because he's a small individual, small HUF. So what may apply is 194IB. Only if the rent is more than 50,000 rupees per month. Is the rent more than 50,000? Yes. But do you have to deduct it monthly? No. Whenever it period ends, so 3-month period, whenever it ends, what will be the total amount? 52,000 into 3, that is 1,56,000 at the rate of 5% will have to be deducted. So 7,800 will have to be deducted under 194IB. Guys, TDS, I would suggest if you have to do 1 chapter at the start and 1 chapter which you have to do very well, that is this chapter, because it is guaranteed 7 marks and this one is very, very amazing. Right now it's 2:26, 2 hours 26 minutes into the lecture. What we will do is we finish TDS, we have to do sums, yes. But when we come back from the break, we'll do TCS and advanced tax first. Guys, the sums we have tomorrow sometime in the second half. The main chapters like TDS, etc., we will do more sums. So that's been my time for TDS. If you have any questions, I'm right here. Otherwise, in the next session, we will see TCS. Again, really important nowadays, that advanced tax and return of income in the next section. Hopefully, all fingers crossed. Thank you and see you in half now. Thank you guys. If any questions, do let me know please.